Welcome to yoga-based stretching for mobility in judo. Please have, as last week, bare feet, as you would if you were stepping on the judo mat, and a judo belt. The session again this week will do all over body mobility, but also incorporating an element of strengthening for the body. During the session, you must listen to your body, see how it's reacting to the different stretches. It should feel a stretch, but no pain. If you feel any pain, back off and stop. Throughout the session again, I will be giving different levels of mobility and options for each of them. Particularly if you've got bad knees or perhaps bad elbow, please have some cushions close by because they would come in useful to help you get into the stretches. Right, with all that said, we're going to start off with a similar warm-up to last week. We're going to use our breathing, as breathing is an important component of yoga. Try and take long, slow breaths. Make sure that your breath, it's most important to be relaxed and your breath you feel comfortable with it. Right, taking a wide grip of your judo belt. Inhale and lengthen. When I say lengthen, I want you to be in a very tall position. Feel that somebody is pulling you on a string from the sky, making yourself as tall as possible. And breathing, swing from side to side. Be conscious, breathing long and slow. Good. Next, take again a wide grip on the judo belt. Place it in front of you. Step on with the central part of your feet, keeping your knees directly over your ankles. Take the wide grip and take a strain. Inhale. As you exhale, coming down into a squat position. Hold yourself secure with your arms and breathe. Take a long, deep breath. And rise. Again, inhale, exhale, coming down as far as is comfortable for your knees. As you breathe, you may want to go a little further. And rise. Last one, inhaling. Exhale. As you're breathing, you can challenge yourself further if you want by lifting your toes high and going further back onto your heels. And rise. Shake out any tension. Now taking a grip at about shoulder width. If that's uncomfortable, take it slightly wider. You know the mobility of your shoulders. So inhale. As you exhale, you're going to take a stretch over to the right. Keeping your hips again, looking forward. Take one more breath and return. Other side, inhale and lengthen, make yourself taller. Exhale and stretch, stretch over, feel that stretch from the rib cage. And rise. Inhale, over to the right. As you breathe, you can go a few millimeters further. And rise. Last one, inhale, exhale, Make your body long on the right side as you bend to the left. And shake that out. Our first pose today is going to be one of the warrior poses. Again, it's for mobility, for the core area and for the shoulders. Arms out. Place your feet directly, if possible, under your hands. But it's important that you have a firm, strong base and you feel comfortable and steady. Tuck in your tummy, tuck in your tail, and relax your shoulders. The essence of this pose is to keep your spine at the back long and straight. As we stretch, it has to remain in a straight, upright position, and the hips are going to remain forward. If that's difficult, if you've got a wall nearby, you can place yourself against the wall. Otherwise, taking your wide stance. Relax your shoulders as you point your right foot forward. Keep the knees straight, but if you've got knee issues, keep the legs straight. If you've got knee issues or tight hamstrings at this stage of the session, you can soften it a little bit. Okay, so hips directly forward. Inhale. As you exhale, push that hip back as you reach and stretch forward. When you can reach no further, bring the back of that hand to rest and the other hand directly above in the air. It may be that your hand comes on your thigh, your knee, or close to your ankle. The essence of the stretch is to keep the top hip back and the bottom hip pointing forward. If you've no neck issues, you can look up at the upper hand and breathe. One more breath and rise. Back to the first position. This time, left foot. Reach, inhale as you reach, pushing the hip back and over. There should be a straight line between both hands. Again, if you've got neck issues, you can just look towards the floor. If not, look up at the upper palm. Pushing the top hip back and the bottom hip forward for triangle pose. One more breath. And using the legs, bring yourself out and give the legs a shake. The next pose is another strong warrior pose. It is particularly good for the leg strength. So, as well as twisting for the mobility of your chest, your back, and your shoulders. So again, a wide stance, tuck everything in, relax the shoulders, taking the right foot forward again. This time, the other foot is going to come at a 45-degree angle. And as you breathe, you're going to reach and bring that knee directly over the ankle, not letting it buckle in, keep the legs strong, and sink into that front knee. Taking the elbow and place it lightly on the knee. You can keep your hand here if you've got shoulder issues. If not, bring that arm and look towards that front palm. And breathe. If you want to go a little further, you can take your hand and rest it on the floor or on a cushion. But breathe into the pose. Try and keep your weight evenly distributed between both feet. One more breath. And rise. Other side. Left foot pointing forward. Right foot 45. Make sure you're feeling comfortable and strong as you exhale and bring that knee directly over the ankle. Elbow rest lightly. Arm can come across, remaining here, or bringing the hand onto the floor. If you want further challenge, you can take the bind by bringing your left arm underneath your leg, your right arm, and your fingers bind at the back. And then you can look up over your shoulder. Remembering to breathe. One more breath. Using your legs to bring you up. Good. Now we're going to do that pose and we're going to reverse, make it a reverse twist. So again, wide stance. Right foot forward, and this time the left foot and the hips are going to look directly in front of you over to the right. Sinking as you breathe. Bring your right hand onto the small of your back, your lower back. Reach forward with the left arm as you breathe, bringing the left elbow to the right side, the far side of your knee. Just kind of move that. Right. And bring your hand on top of it into prayer position. As you breathe, you can twist from the waist, then twist from the chest, and finally, using that leverage of your elbow to push your shoulders a few millimeters further into the twist. But remember to keep breathing. One more breath. And again, soften the knee and push yourself out. Other side. Wide stance. Left knee forward. Left foot forward. Right foot 45. Exhale, sink into that knee. Left hand on your lower back. Reach with the right arm. Bringing the elbow across the knee into prayer position and twist round, looking at the opposite back of the room. Breathe into that twist. One more breath. And come out. Good. Just shake that out. Next pose, you will need your judo belt close at hand. Again, we're starting off with the same wide stance. As we inhale this time, we're going to take our two index fingers, our index and middle finger, and fold over, pushing your hips back and holding on to the two big toes. Just hang into that pose, relaxing your back, keeping your back broad, keeping your shoulders broad, and breathing. Again, this is where you can start to wake up your hamstrings by pushing your hips up towards the sky. It's not necessary to fold any further. Rather, push your hips up towards the ceiling. So hips going up. Taking your left palm of your hand, place it directly under your nose. Inhale and bring your right arm up to the sky. As you breathe, you can look up at the hand and twist a little further. One more breath. And swap hands, right hand underneath your nose as you raise your left arm. And return. Bend your knees and bring yourself up. But keep that wide stance. And as you did before, you can link your thumbs, put them behind you. And as you fold, bringing your arms over, bringing your shoulders over. Again, tight shoulders, take the judo belt, put it behind you, hips pushed back as you fold. Three more long breaths. And using your legs, bring yourself up. Right. The next pose is a seated squat. Please judge the reaction to this exercise on your knees. You know how far down and what's right for your body. So, you have your feet together. If you've got knee issues, you can widen them and put them under your hips. You make that decision. Inhale. As you exhale, you squat and bring your arms up. Breathe. Depending on your shoulder mobility, you can raise your arms, bringing your biceps close to your ears, looking between the opened hands. As you breathe, you can go a little further, but making sure that your knees don't go, you can see your toes so that your knees are in the correct position. One more breath. And then come up. We're going to repeat that and also incorporate a twist. So inhale, as you exhale into the squat position. Inhale, bring your hands in front into prayer position. Exhale, taking your right elbow to the far side of your left knee and look at the back or look over to the right, your right side. That elbow can push you, your shoulders help you push into the twist a little further. Try and check that your knees remain parallel and that one doesn't pop out in front of the other. Come back to prayer. Inhale. As you exhale, bring your left elbow to your right knee. Pushing against your hands and pushing your elbow against your knee to help you into that twist. And breathe. One more breath. And back into prayer and rise. Shake that out. Massage off any tension in your legs. And ready for the next poses. We're going to move now onto the ground, like knee waza again. So inhale, rise, bring the arms up. Exhale, swallow dive to the floor, and you're going to bring your hands forward, pushing your feet back into plank position. Push against your heels. Push your heels back. Make sure that your shoulders are directly taking the weight directly over your wrists. Now, we're going to do a calf stretch. So pushing back the heel of the foot as you bring the other knee close to the ground. As you breathe, you can swap over. One more. Stretching your calf, similar to stretching your quad, is really important for the health of your knee. Now, coming down into a lower plank. Hold this position for 3 breaths. Trying to keep your body in line. Don't let your hips sag or your hips stick up. Try and keep your whole body even. And we're going to take a side plank. One of the best methods of strengthening the body. Again, if you've got elbow or arm issues, shoulder issues, use a cushion. Feet glued together. Keep that hip. The essence of this pose is to keep the hip high. You can use your fingers to balance. If that is difficult, you can come onto that knee as you build the body up for plank. One more breath. And swapping over to the other side. I'm going to change positions. Into plank. Keeping the hip up. If you want further challenge, but don't compromise this hip, you can bring your arm up. As you breathe, you can bring your leg up. 2 more breaths. And come down. Again, staying in plank, moving up into high plank position. You are going to take your right foot and bring it close to as close as you can to the outside of your right hand. So bringing the foot up. Keeping your left palm on the floor. I will say, if this is difficult, you can come down onto the back knee or remain with the back knee high. So, keeping the palm on the floor, keeping the foot on the floor. Again, take a twist. And come down. Now, this pose is called lizard pose, and it's a good stretch, particularly for your hips, opening up the hips. Keeping your weight on the palms of your hands. Come onto the outside edge of the right foot, so the outside edge. That in itself may be an appropriate stretch as far as your body would want to move your hips. Or you can judge and push your hand, opening up the hips a little further. It's like your foot, it's like you're doing a foot sweep. The foot is on its side. One more breath. And bring the foot back into plank position. Bringing the left foot to the outside of the left palm. Again, keep your weight on the right hand and take a quick twist. Bringing the palm back. Rotate the foot so it's on the outside edge. You can see the bottom of the foot like a foot sweep. That may be enough for your hip, or you can push against your thigh. You can also, and you can take a cushion, bring your chest, if you want to go deeper into this hip stretch, you can bring your chest further onto the ground. One more breath. And gently come out. And sitting. Keep the judo belt close. Taking the legs so that they're in quite a wide position, just enough to challenge them. The toes and the kneecap pointing up to the sky. In this stretch, try not to let your knee, your thighs collapse inwards by keeping your toes and patella pointing up. Taking your right palm, you can place it under your right calf. Inhale, make yourself taller. Exhale, bringing the arm over and taking that stretch to the side. As you breathe, you can stretch from the ribs. Hold yourself in this position. Now, if that's difficult to hold, judo belt, hook it round the foot and hold with the judo belt. You're not using the judo belt to pull you further. You're keeping it, it's to secure you as you hold the stretch. And release. Other side. Take the left palm, place it under the left calf. Inhale, grow tall. Exhale, bend and stretch. Again, just check in that your toes and your kneecaps are directly looking up. You can look up underneath that shoulder. And as you breathe, you can go further into the stretch. And come up. Okay, the next pose is particularly for your core and lower back. If you've got any knee problems, please, I would advise you take a cushion to kneel on. We're going to go into high kneel. This pose is known as camel. So inhale, lengthen yourself. As you exhale, you bring your hands onto the lower part of your back, pushing out your chest, using the hands to both secure and push yourself further back into the stretch. Taking 2 breaths. And come up. Just shake that out. We're going to repeat that. If you want the first option, that's fine. That's a good stretch for your back. If you want to go a little deeper, you can either choose to come onto your back toes or have them flat, depending on your mobility. So as you breathe this time, inhale, you bring one arm up, the other remains on your back, and you can fold, holding the arm in the air, and the other one can come back and hold onto the ankle. Again, as you breathe, you may want to go further back. and release. Other side, arm up, hand on back. Go into the pose, taking the ankle. If you want, you can actually bring both hands onto your ankles. One more breath. And release, coming up. The counter bend is on, come into tabletop, shake the hips, wriggle the hips, arch the back, and relax, sitting again. Before we go on to the last two poses, we're going to give the back a massage. We're going to do a 360 movement, doing forward, backward rolls. Take about 7 to 9 rolls and bring yourself back into this position. So, 1, just grasping your knees. Good. That's always something good to do when you're doing lots of stretching, just so the back gets a little rest and a little shakes out, takes out any tension. This next pose is one that I feel is particularly appropriate with the current situation. It's called fish pose, and not only does it stretch the upper body, the chest and the shoulders and add to the mobility, it also releases any tension from the neck area and upper shoulder area. And during our lockdown, a lot of people have been hunched up over phones and on their computers. This will release any tension in the neck area. Lying down, come to a complete lie down. The toes again flexed. You're going to take the palms of your hands and put them under your buttocks. Now you can bring your thumbs together underneath your hand, underneath your buttocks. So lift, put the hands directly underneath. The essence is then to keep your weight, bring your weight onto your elbows and your forearms. You're taking the strain, taking the weight of your body onto this part. Again, toes flexed. You're going to lift up and look at your toes. As you go back, you're going to bring your shoulders in, push out your chest, and lower yourself lightly onto the crown of your head, the top of your head, keeping your weight on your elbows and forearms. Breathe into it. If you feel that your neck muscles are strong enough, you can release some of your weight onto the crown of your head. See how your body, see how your neck and shoulders are reacting. As you breathe, push your chest out further and enjoy fish pose. Two more breaths. Now, very carefully, put all your weight onto your elbows and your forearms as you bring yourself up, as you take yourself up to sitting. Push with your arms to bring yourself into sitting. Great. The last pose we're going to do is, as last week, it's a strong pose for your groin area. Yoga people generally like to keep it to the end of a session because then it ensures that your body is ready and ready for the strong pose. Taking cushions, if you've got knee issues, bringing your knees out as wide as is comfortably possible. You should feel a stretch with no pain. So wide, your ankles directly behind your knees. This is important. Your feet spread to the side. Lower yourself onto your elbows, taking all your weight on your elbows. Inhale, lift your hips a little high, and then as you exhale, push the hips back. Breathe into the pose. As you inhale and exhale, the aim is to lower your chest, lower your stomach as close to the ground as you can. Coming out carefully, take the weight onto one hand and onto the other. Shuffle the knees together. Give the back a wriggle, give the hips a wriggle, arch the back. One more wriggle. And bring yourself into cross-leg position. Thank you once again for joining me. I hope you've picked up something that you can use for your own personal mobility, and also something that you can take back to your friends in the dojo. Namaste. Thank you for joining me. And Ray.